going to start out by bringing forth my dear friend, Dr. Peter Diamandis. He's going to tell you a little bit about the medicine revolution that's out here. Give it up for Dr. Peter here, ladies and gentlemen. Peter, how you doing, brother?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see everybody.
Let him hear you. Peter, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing awesome. It's a beautiful day here in Santa Monica. I wish I was with you. You know, Tony, one of the things that I love and appreciate about you is the energy and depth in which you go into a project. I mean, after working on this project with you for 3 years, I have 2 universities. I think I'm going to give you a medical degree and a PhD because
you're too kind.
Really,
I've learned so much from you. Will you share a little bit about where you see this regenerative medicine revolution happening and why it's best time to be alive with no BS so people understand?
Absolutely. So I want to give some context here, first of all, that's important. And I'm going to go back a little bit of time, 100,000 years. We evolved never to live past age 30. As a human species, back 100,000 years ago, you would go into puberty at age 12 or 13. And then you were pregnant a year later. And by the time you were 26, 27, 28 years old, your baby was having a baby. And the best thing you could do back then was not steal food from your grandchildren's mouths, and you would die. I mean, we literally were designed as a species to procreate, perpetuate the species, and to live till age 30. Then after age 30, as you'll hear from some of these speakers, a lot of things start going downhill. We're at peak health at about the age of, mid-20s to 30, and then we start to go into this disequilibrium. 100 years ago would live towards 50, then 60. Today for men, it's about 75. For women, it's about 80. How old could we live? And that's one of the questions I've asked myself. The majority of my last decade has been dedicated to the field of longevity and health span increase, my investments, my companies. But I remember when I was in medical school, I watched this television show on long-lived sea life, and I learned that certain species of whales, a bowhead whale, could live 200 years. Greenland sharks could live 300 or 400 years. Sea turtles could live potentially even longer. And I asked myself the question, if they can live that long, why can't we? And I remember thinking it's either a hardware problem or a software problem. And we're eventually going to have the tools to understand why things start breaking down, why we go into this disequilibrium. And that's now. It's this decade that's been an incredible revolution, and it's only accelerating. So if we think about what are the tools that we're bringing to bear today, and you're going to hear about it from some of these incredible people that Tony and I wrote about, they're friends, they're just leaders in this field. A couple of things, right? We've all heard about genome sequencing. We have 3.2 billion letters from your mother and your father. It's your genome. And, we didn't understand what was inside the genome. But it was about 20 years ago, this process began, and for the first genome, it cost about $3 billion to sequence. And then it was $100 million, then it was $10,000. Today, the cost of genome sequencing has been dropping faster than 5 times faster than Moore's Law, which is how fast computers are getting cheaper. And today it's a couple $100 to sequence your genome. And instead of doing it over the course of years or months, the new record is 7 hours to sequence your genome. Let's add to that we've got technologies like CRISPR. We'll hear about it, won the Nobel Prize in 2020, that besides being able to read your genome, we can now edit your genome and write your genome. If you're using Word for doing your documents, it's reading, writing, editing. We have computation, in particular artificial intelligence, and what's coming soon is quantum computers. I'll talk about some of this stuff later on. We have sensors, right? Today, we think we know what's going on inside our bodies. I'll ask you right now, do you know what's going on inside your body? I would posit that for most of us, we don't actually know what's going on inside our body. We hope things are great. If you end up, and we've all seen this, where someone goes to the hospital and they get a checkup and there's a diagnosis. I'm sorry to tell you this, you've got stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. It didn't happen that morning. it's been going on for months, maybe years. And we now have the ability to look into our body with sensors. This is besides, MRIs and CAT scans. These are sensors like continuous glucose monitoring, or an Oura Ring for sleep, or an Apple Watch. And there's a explosion of sensors that are coming online that we're going to have in our bodies, on our bodies, in our chairs, in our beds, monitoring us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so we can truly understand the state of our health. Because for most of us, we know more about how our car is doing or how our refrigerator is than we do our own health. So the revolution that's coming is moving medicine out of the hospitals, out of the doctor's office, into your home, onto your body, to monitor you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that you can catch disease at the very beginning. When do you want to catch cancer? It isn't at stage 4, right? Tony will talk about this. We'll talk about it with some great individuals. You want to catch it when it is just at the inception. And one thing that you should also know is we're always developing cancers in our body. It's just that our immune system finds the cancer and zaps it before it's too late. It's when your immune system fails to find the cancer that it develops. And so we need to be monitoring ourselves. There are incredible technologies. We'll hear about some of those from Dr. Bill Kapp at Fountain Life. Technology like Grail that's able to, from a blood sample, diagnose 50 different cancers at their earliest stages. So it's incredible what's coming. One of the questions I want to ask you, we're here talking about vitality and energy. If you've got all the vitality and energy at 60 or 70 that you had when you were in your 20s or 30s, are you going to want to retire? Probably not. You're probably going to start your next company or go and travel the world or go have an amazing time. So one of the questions I ask people all the time is, how long do you want to live? Not in the wheelchair drooling, but with the vitality, right? The cognition, so you're thinking clearly, the aesthetics, so you look good, the mobility, so you're moving well. How long do you want that for? Because we're about to see the technologies over the course of the next few hours that will give us that cognition, aesthetics, and mobility. I'll close on a thought. We opened this book with a dear friend of both of ours, Ray Kurzweil. He's written our foreword. And I first heard Ray and Aubrey de Grey talk about something called longevity escape velocity. And it's an important idea. I want to share it with you because it motivates me every day. So it turns out that today, for every year that you're alive, science is extending your year by about a quarter. Science is making our lives longer and healthier every year. Breakthroughs that are occurring across the board. There's going to be a point at which science, for every year that you're alive, is extending your life for greater than a year. And that concept is called longevity escape velocity. And when I asked Ray, when is that going to be? He said his prediction was it would be 11 or 12 years from now. And I was blown away, right? You're telling me that 11 or 12 years from now, if I can stay in good health, that I'm going to be able to be adding additional years onto my life. And then I asked Dr. George Church, who heads genomics at Harvard. He's brilliant. And I expected, clearly a conservative Harvard scientist would think that it would be way out in the future. George's answer was it's probably about 15 years from now. So I have a question for you. Are you prepared to do what it takes to keep yourself in a good state of health, right? Not to die from something stupid, in order to intercept the technologies that are coming to give you the vitality, the energy, and the potential for a long health span. So, Tony, I'm excited about the work that we've done and the work that we're doing together in Fountain Life, in Life Force Digital, in all of these things. It's truly, you've said it, I've said it, the true wealth is your health today. And we should expect to get to 100. We should expect perhaps to go further than 100. All right, buddy, back to you, pal.
All right, give him a hand. Peter, ladies and gentlemen.